excellent for you to get out of bed after you obviously haven't. We've seen these days tutorials. Put your hand up, you know what time it is? Yeah, just come to the door, knock on it. Yeah, it's not scary, do you know where it is? Yeah, so come along, we'll have a chat. It's just about getting to know each other. You will get information in the next couple of weeks. We'll have one new guest lecturer next week called Simon Heron, who's a famous architect, who's going to talk about drawing to us, which is going to be very interesting. I've persuaded him. He had a cold this week, otherwise he'd have done it today. And by popular demand, we are going to have a lecture on Salvador Dali, Max Ernst, and Giorgio de Chirico, who are surrealists, by guess who? Someone who does things on islands. Very rich. The dean has decided that he wants to do a lecture on surrealism, but a lecture on surrealism. Probably one that you will understand a little bit more. All right? You're not filming this, are you yet? You are? Okay.
Shall I stop?
No, that's fine. You continue on. So he's going to give a lecture in a couple of weeks' time on there. So again, that's the day you do turn up early. Yeah? We're going to start posting in at 10 o'clock. After that, there's one final lecture before Easter, which is called Conclusion, which is in the sense is about how to end a fantastic magazine with a summing up of what's happened. So that's going to be a quick lecture by me. After Easter, I should post up a timetable for this so you all know about it. But after Easter, you won't be in here. You will either be in Lab B, IT Lab B, where all the computers are, or one day, in fact, you will be in the North Studio on Thursday, the 3rd of May, where you can start to produce or finish off the production of your magazine. So after Easter, you don't have any more lectures. This will be time for you to have tutorials with me, also to produce your magazine, to edit it, upload it, sew it, bind it, whatever you want. So after Easter, you have those. And I've got 2 rooms, as I say, Lab B, which is all day on a Wednesday, the first Wednesday, the 3rd Wednesday, and the North Studio on the Thursday, the 3rd of May. I'll post that timetable up so you don't get confused, because you'll all forget what I just said. Your brains are so good. Okay, today's lecture is called Animated Robotics, or Animated Robots. And the reason I thought of doing this lecture was that I was trying to think of how I would tackle one of the essays, lectures that you had about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I was trying to think, how do I do this? You've had these lectures that are very intense, very complicated about different ideas. And I'm asking you to do a very difficult thing, which is to write, well, a minimum of 300 words, which a lot of you come up to me and say, how can I possibly write 300 words on something as complicated as some of those lectures? And in one way, that is the problem. It's not the problem of writing lots and lots and lots, because we can all do that, but actually writing something that makes sense in a short space. So one of my lectures that I give is called Animation Histories, which is a lot longer than we have today to do. So I cut it down. And the reason I cut it down is because I thought, well, one of the most interesting things about one of the lectures I found was a short animation that Nick Clear showed us. And I'll be showing that in its length in a little while. And I thought, well, how can you take the idea of animation history, or the history of animation, and write a very short 500-word, 1,000-word article on it, and still make sense? So this lecture, in a sense, is trying to show you that you can just take one small aspect of animation. It could be hair in animation. Some of you 3D digital designers know how difficult hair can be to create in the 3D world, or you all quite good with how to make hair look like hair. Yeah? So you might take one small aspect that you're really interested in animation, Okay, we're starting right back back in the day, back in I think 1534, when the word animation came into being. Why did the animation cartoons are called animations?
Because they have to draw in one frame at a time, and usually it would be like someone walking or moving something. That's I think my big idea.
Okay, that's so something to do with drawing and moving. Scott.
Animation is another word for moving.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. So, in fact, why I'm going to start off this lecture is actually going right back to basics. What makes an animation different from a drawing? Scott has just said the right word. It's movement. If you don't have movement, you don't have animation. So, one thing we all try to do is to, first of all, think about doing a piece of research. We all go back to sometimes a definition. It's funny. Tweet it then, we all want to know about it. So often what we do is when in research, we actually go back to basics. We all know what a cartoon is, we've all seen what a cartoon is, we all know what Avatar is, we all know what CGI is, or we think we do. But sometimes it's worth just going right back to basics and analysing, not just using, not just describing, what animated actually means. So if you look at the first definition of animated, it says, endowed with life, the qualities of life. So what it does is create something that comes alive. Yeah. What I want you to do, you're going to do a couple of thought experiments today, which you're going to write down. One thing I want you to think about is, what would you think it would be like if you sat in this lecture theatre 117 years ago? You're in this lecture theatre 117 years ago. Up until that point, 1895, up until that point in your life, you may have seen some flip books. You may have seen something that goes around and around, the zoetrope, which made horses go like that. You may have seen photographs by Edward Muybridge, which showed lots of different bits of animals with their legs going like that. In 1895, what happened that changed the world?
First, computer graphic animation.
First computer graphic animation in 1895. No.
Sorry.
Sorry? So the first photograph is an answer. First photograph, 1826. Write that down. Come on, it's a fact. This other lectures of facts. 1826 could be seen as one of the dates that is used to say the first photograph. 1839 is also a date that's used. It's roughly around about that time we could do the history of animation. 1895, something that changed the world completely and utterly. Not only changed the world, but changed the way we think about the world. We're scared now, being wrong. It's a big clue. What are we talking about today?
First animation of
No. 19 something or other. The first film. Thank you. So the first film was ever shown by the Lumiere brothers in 1895. So 117, I'm trying to get my maths right, 117 years ago. I want you to think, and this may be a story that you start, maybe what would it have been like? You've never seen a moving picture on a big screen before. What do you think it was like? Just do a little bit of imagination. But what you might want to do also is do some research. So you sat there, they had a funny little tent, and they had this, the camera was also the projector, and the lights went down into darkness, and suddenly, out of the screen came a train, moving.
People jump away from the screen.
Well, this is the story, it's maybe a myth, but it's a nice story. But it's coming towards me. Same thing happened when 3D came, when, oh God, it's coming towards me. And you know who laughed? Well, it was funny. But I expect you would have thought it was funny, and you thought that train's going to come into me and crash into me. So one of the key dates that you'll find in the 19th century is 1895. Americans tend to think they invented everything, and so they have another date and they have other people doing it. But it was the French in 1895 with the Lumiere brothers. A little bit later on, people realised that this thing called film, which was silent in those days, there was no sound attached to the film. The thing that was different about it than anything else that had ever been seen before was this illusion of movement. And so, if I was writing an essay or an article, possibly on cartoons, one of my starting points would be something called the movement image. If you write down the movement image and go and Google it, you'll find there'll be some strange philosophers. My favourite philosopher will come up. And it's quite strange what movement does. We're all so used to it now because we see it everywhere. We go to the cinema, we have a television, we have our mobile phones. We've grown up with it. So to us, it's not extraordinary. But to the people in 1895, and for many years, it was an extraordinary thing. It was like, that is amazing. So what you might want to do is relate it to something that you've done recently or seen recently that you thought was the most amazing thing you've ever seen. Okay, so sometimes we start with having the appearance of something alive, having the appearance of something alive. So what it is making something come alive, something like magic. Yeah, she gave an animated description of the project. So when lecturers do this, they become animated. So the first known use of animated was 1534. Yeah? And you probably, if you're interested in language, and some of you will be, you may probably go back to the Latin and to the Greek, and it will have a root. It will have a way, and anime probably means something about alive. Now I'm just guessing this, because I'm not fond of all knowledge. And then you can see that if anime is something to do with coming alive, you know what anime is, don't you? It's a type of Japanese cartoon, yes? I suspect means movement. Okay, so that's one way you could possibly start. What you never do, and this is what a lot of people make a mistake, and I've seen people at MA level and PhD level, they start an essay off with a definition. You have to rewrite that definition. You have to say, according to the dictionary, the definition of animated is this. And you have to look at it, it comes from the root of so and so and so and so. You can't just bung a definition at the beginning of something and I'll go, phew, solved. I nicked that from whatever dictionary I nicked it from Webster's on the internet. You'll find it because it will look exactly the same as this. Okay. As I said right at the beginning, I was trying to put myself in your place, thinking, if I had to write an essay about Nick Clear's very fascinating lecture on architectural space, drawing, film and animation, where would I start? Well, in one way I would start with this film here, which has become more and more famous over the last year or so. Edith Kidway has just won a prize at the Sundance Film Festival in Canada, I think. I don't remember. If anybody's interested in film, Sundance Film Festival, run by Robert Redford, a very famous Hollywood actor. Yes, you nod your head, or no, I don't know who Robert Redford is. Yeah, do you know who he is? Yeah. The Sundance Film Festival is possibly the biggest film festival in the world for this type of film. So this film has won the highest prize that possibly can be. And what's interesting, I think, about this film, other than the fact that I think it's extremely well made, the politics of it are really, really interesting, it's always done a phenomenal amount of research on it, it's technically extremely competent, etc., 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 has all those things about it. What I find fascinating about it, he did this like a dissertation. He did this as a project at the end of a